Don't worry about that. You come here, you're going to get the real fucking deal. And, as best I can explain it.
Avocado Toast. To think adult men that have podcasts.
Who the fuck even come up with that?
Somebody does. Usually the dumbest people in our society and the most ill-informed deal in absolutes with everything. And there's a quote out there that says, the opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if they don't know anything about the subject. Brother, here we go again. I'm glad I got you up and moving this morning. I thought it was going to be difficult, but we used the power of Seabass to get you up and moving. So,
and we got to thank our sponsors, Goodies BC Powders.
What about your good friends at Copenhagen and Deer Park Water?
And now I'm on the natural light, so I got the dip of Copenhagen in. I'm ready to rock.
And that's a pretty sexy 1.6 koozie you got there, buddy.
1.6 hard.
So, hey, we're going to kick it off. Been a while since we talked to everybody. So, questions from our audience across all of our different platforms. We'll jump right into it here. JC and Bo, with your experience in the Marine Corps, what do you think the Marine Corps gets right, and what do you think it gets wrong? So, Joe, we thank you for the question, and I'll go ahead and jump on it first. So, one thing I think we always do right is we reflect on our history and where we've been successful, and we stick to that, and that pays dividends everywhere from our beginnings of a Corps to just recently through OEF and OIF, and I'm sure that'll continue when the next fight emerges.
I think what else we do right is we do the impossible with nothing. We make it happen.
And we've seen that ourselves, where you and me have dropped off Marines at an LPOP or loaded them into an ambush or set up a support by fire, and you drop a corporal of Marines off with 10 Marines, or you give a second lieutenant a platoon, and what do? They make it happen.
Hey, Lance Corporals make it happen. You had one of the best squad leaders I ever seen was a Lance Corporal.
That's a fact. John Reisky.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Exfilled a special forces team out of a Taliban ambush site, and they did that over the course of 8 hours. So we've seen it.
Absolutely.
A well-trained squad leader, be it a Lance Corporal, with some MREs, a radio, and some water, and they're going to go get it done.
Yeah, I love that how, not to change the subject, but the Marine Corps is the only service where the Marines make up their own rank. Oh, I'm not a Lance Corporal. I'm a senior Lance Corporal.
You're a senior?
Oh, well, excuse the fuck out of me.
You're senior Lance Corporal.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, I love it when you check in and a kid's been in for a year and he's a Lance Corporal. This kid's been in for a year and 7 months. Senior Lance Corporal.
Yeah, like my nephew, Joey. He's Uncle Bill. I'm a senior Lance Corporal. I said, well, excuse the hell out of me, Joey.
I rate a low reg and a bad mustache.
Right.
Get the hell out of here. One that's kind of got my goat lately. I work in the defense industry, and the service rifle bothers me. We've got a current service rifle that's great, the IAR. Wonderful gun. It's effective. It's accurate. But what I don't like is it looks like a Kentucky long rifle. It's long. It has a can on it. It's suppressed, but it's too damn long. And for peanuts, they could take that gun, right? And this isn't a shot at anybody in the Marine Corps, but sometimes we're the Marine Corps. We've always done it this way. Sometimes we're guilty of that in the Marine Corps. Well, we've always done it this way.
Right, yeah.
The rifle's great, it's accurate, but you could shorten the barrel and make it more effective for a sniper, a recon man, a weapons platoon kid.
A regular fucking kid, getting in and out of the vehicle.
Yeah, if he's a vehicle crewman.
Come on.
Right? Get a damn short barrel with the appropriate scope, and you're going to make that kid more effective and more lethal.
Hey, something else they do is they just throw all this new shit on us and all this new gear. Nobody asked me.
Right.
Right? I remember when I was a company gunny, I was getting all this new gear and all this shit we never even I trained with. You know what I did? I locked it in the Connex box.
And good on you, because I remember that. You remember we got those 40 millimeter sights, the Piskey 18.
No.
Hey, Hoss, I got a leaf sight or a quadrant sight that works just fine. I don't need a fucking laser aiming device for 40 millimeter.
And we didn't even train with it. They just give it to us,
And the problem is with a lot of units, they will give it to a kid and say, shut the fuck up and put it on your
weapon.
Right. I'm never going to hand a kid something to put on his weapon if he doesn't know how to use it. It's bad.
Me neither. Yep.
And we talk about we've always done it this way. Marines are always sometimes their own worst enemy. So I will throw this out there to the masses, and I mean this from a place of love, and I mean this wholeheartedly. Marines got to stop reaching for low-hanging fruit. What do I mean by that? Marines get excited about talking about pistols, pistol quals, and PT uniforms. Nobody cares. If you're not talking about drinking beer, brotherhood, rifles, rockets, and machine guns, that's what's kept our Corps around for damn near 250 years. Stick to that. Nobody cares about PT uniforms, and nobody gives a shit about a damn service pistol.
Nope.
I'd like to have a walnut-handled 357 and just go around pistol whip bad guys. That's all I would use a pistol for.
I like to have the old pearl handles.
But you do know what pistols kill? They kill other fucking Marines.
That's exactly right. That is exact. We've seen it.
Not a pistol fan.
Me neither.
So hope that answers what we get right, what we get wrong. JC, tell us about the recruit you had from Disney World. Buddy, so one of my old recruits reached out to me, and much to this kid's misfortune one evening, I had to do the senior drill instructor's health and comfort inspection. And for some of you that don't understand what that is, that's where the drill instructor, generally the senior, goes around and asks everybody about their problems. Well, I get in front of this little short kid.
And they're usually in a towel.
They got his towel. He got his towel. And I didn't like this kid. Of course, I'm a green belt. I'm not supposed to like any of them, right?
Right.
I'm doing my job. I don't care for this kid. I go by him, and I'm like, wait a second. He spun around. I said, boy, where the hell is your belly button? Yeah. Sir, this recruit. I said, now you go whisper sweet nothings to me. I said, open your fat mouth. You're going to tell me where the hell your belly button went. Now, you know where this is going. This is getting ready to be comic hour, and you don't want it to be. But the kid's he done told me that, hey, guess what? I don't want to tell you. Okay. All right, Hoss.
Oh,
he just kept whispering it.
Oh.
And I said, you're going to open your fat mouth and tell me where in the hell your fucking belly button went. Sir, this recruit's nuts didn't drop till he's in the 7th grade. I said, what'd you say? I said, well, what does that have to do with your belly button? He's like, sir, the doctor had to open my belly button up, go up with some scissors and cut it to make him drop, and then he sewed it back up. I ain't got no belly button. God, I'm like, carry on. And I stepped off to the next. What else am I going to say?
Hey, that's one thing I learned when I was a drill instructor, too. You ask a recruit a question.
They going to fucking tell you.
They're going to give you an answer.
Ain't that the damn truth?
They're going to give you an answer, and it may not be the answer you want or expect, so be very careful.
So America and anybody else out there on the planet that's watching, if you ever see a kid without a belly button, there's a chance his nuts didn't drop till later in life, and that's where they went in to snip him and make him come down.
God damn. Bless his heart.
I bet there's a lot of boys nowadays, this new generation, who...
Well, fuck, they go to the fucking hospital and get it done. Hey, you know what? Today, I want my nuts chopped off. Fuck it, I want to be a fucking female. Fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. Wherever that young man is, I hope that life find him healthy, well, and his sack is in good shape. God bless you, Semper Fi. But since we're on boot camp stuff, here's a touchy one.
Oh,
what do you guys think about Coed boot camp?
Oh, my God. It is the worst fucking idea that you could possibly ever come up with, by far. Because as Americans, we treat our females differently than we do our men. It's in our culture.
Absolutely.
You know, and you put something like recruit training together with male and females, it does not fucking work. You can crunch the numbers, you can say anything you want. Oh, we did it, we made it work. Bullshit.
I would say you're a bull-faced liar.
Imagine when me and you were girl instructors, right? Going into a fucking squad bay, and I have 88 fucking recruits, and about half of them are female. I'd have all them bitches crying in about 30 fucking seconds. Hell, I used to make them cry when they'd shower, and I just walk by them. You know, got my fucking face.
Here's my problem with all this, right? As I know it now, and I could be wrong on this, but you go to Paris Island and you have integrated companies. I'm fine with that. But where you go wrong is if you integrate to the platoon level, that magic that happens in that squad bay, the efficiency you gain, because where's a Marine made? I'll tell you like any good drill instructor will.
Damn right, in the house.
It's in the house.
In the house.
And you're slowing down house procedures, you're making it difficult. Now, our NCOs and staff NCOs that are down there doing this say, well, we'll find a way to make it work.
And they will. But it ain't as effective as it should be.
And we talk about the nature of men and women. Anytime I went down to dental, or I seen some good-looking female drill instructor, I was absolutely distracted, right?
Right.
What I think is the fact that you're not around the opposite sex is a stress in and of itself.
Absolutely.
And I think we're supposed to make boot camp hard. You're supposed to make it difficult. And I think, co-ed down to the platoon level, I think you're playing with things that'll equal blood being spilled on the battlefield on the bad guy's favor and not ours.
Look,
is that fair?
Bottom line, all what that is fucking politics. That's all it is. So guess what? Because I want to be politically correct, the recruits don't get trained like they should. because I want to be politically correct. Okay, well, if my son is an 18-year-old fucking recruit down in Paris Island or San Diego, and he's not trained the right way, listen, what was that saying that said never let no ghost?
Yeah.
What was that saying? Tell you didn't train me harder.
That your training plan failed.
Your training, right.
Yeah, something along those lines.
People don't understand, these politicians and even the guys, they don't understand. Bottom line, the only reason we fucking exist in the Marine Corps is to impose our will on bad people and cease their existence and hunt them down and kill them. End of fucking story.
I think without sounding like a couple of old gray heads, I think, which we are, but I think at the end of the day, I think what we've been doing has been working. And if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Now, right. Now, if you have females and males on track with each other, right?
Easy day. We done it a million.
Easy day outside. We did that, right? Not a problem. But in the house,
I think you're asking for trouble.
You are asking for trouble. Absolutely.
Hit us with your questions on thoughts on that if you got any. Here's one. Gunner, first sergeant. What advice do you have for a young second lieutenant? We could talk 2 hours on this.
Absolutely. Lieutenants are great pieces of gear. They're so full of fucking knowledge, and they're trained good. Make no mistake about it, especially in the infantry. That ain't no punk ass school,
I've seen what our lieutenants go through to become officers, and in our world, become infantry officers.
Right.
Those guys get their shit pushed in.
And
there's no doubt about that.
It goes with anything. You can be full of knowledge everywhere. You just gotta really lean on that fucking staff NCO, your platoon sergeant. Not in that motor T or whatever. I don't know much about that, but in the infantry, well, you know what? Basically, throughout the Marine Corps, you got to lean on your staff NCOs.
Sure.
But you got to be careful too. And I hate to say this, and it pains me to say this, but every jacked up fucking officer that I know, right? I guarantee you had a jacked up staff NCO.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't show him the right way to do things.
Yep.
Took the shortcuts, shit like that. Talking about heavy barrel.
For all my commissioned 0302 friends out there, this is what I will tell you. A lot of time around lieutenants as a Marine gunner. And what I will tell you is every battalion has great 0302s, but there's two. There's one that's an idiot, but everybody loves him anyway, and he probably gets some shit billet and gets a good staff NCO to carry him. And that's okay. And then we have one that's an asshole whose dad was probably a colonel or a general, and he thinks he's got it figured out. They're Rommel in Africa. It's shut up, stupid. But other than that, your lieutenants are always good. They always want to do good things, and they want to head in the right direction. If you arm them with a good staff NCO on top of that, man, sky's the limit. So what I would tell you is, to the lieutenant crop out there, be open to corrections, be open to advice, but be open and approachable. Nobody likes an officer that's a weirdo because you leave your men guessing.
Right.
So act like you don't know everything, because chances are you probably don't, and I think you're going to encourage your men to want to follow and help you and be part of your command even more.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. And by the time you're a captain, a major, one up through the ranks,
you got it covered.
You're not going to be a weirdo.
Nope.
Marines are going to be like, cool, here comes the sir.
Yep, right. Absolutely. And they don't want to let him down.
Hey, Gunner, hey, Gunner, my lieutenant's pretty fucking cool. I said, I know he is. Right? So, there you go to our lieutenant crop. Here's another one. Fellas, what do you think of us Seabees? Hey, look, I like our sailors, but I like sailors with a shovel even better, because they can help us fill sandbags and build us hooches. I got nothing but good things to say about Seabees.
I watch them Seabees jump down off their fucking goddamn bulldozer, grab a rifle, and get in a firefight.
Yep. I remember going through advanced mortars back in the day, and I had a Seabee with me because they have to go and learn how to level stuff. And that was part of their thing with doing the morters. So,
they're
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're a CB, hey, we salute you, man.
Absolutely, without a doubt, man.
Yeah.
CBs are important, man. They do a great job.
So I think that's boom. I think we got all of our questions out there. Here's one for you. Some comments.
Oh, here we go.
Josh says, my algorithm did its job and brought me to the JC and Bo show.
Well, goddamn. That's pretty fucking cool, man. What's his name?
His name's Josh. My algorithm did its job and brought me here. Well, hey, Josh, we're glad you like it. And if you got any more comments or questions, please throw them at us. And we're glad you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you're here, brother. That's awesome. This algorithm brought it. That's pretty goddamn cool.
Ryan Bodette says the disappointment people at Paris Island had when they realized that I was not related to Bo. That's absolutely hilarious.
Well, look. Being related to me, it can be a blessing and a curse. So you got to be careful with that, who you talk to.
I think it's safe to be said if somebody asks if they know you or have any association to you, they're going to get some type of animated response. It's not just going to be like, oh, I know him.
Yeah, oh no. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a Bill Bodette story. Everybody's got a Corporal Bodette story. Buddy, look here. When I was Lance Corporal, I was a platoon sergeant's fucking nightmare. Oh, god damn.
And we're going to close it out with this comment, and this couldn't be any more close to the truth, and this is what we were shooting for. Finally, a real Marine podcast, no hawking scarves or avocado toast. Hey, and nor will you ever have to worry about that. Oat milk, soy, vegetarian diets, Birkenstocks, Volvo wagons, red meat, guns, America, truth and justice. That's all you're going to get.
Don't worry about that. You come here, you're going to get the real fucking deal, and as best I can explain it.
Avocado toast. To think adult men that have podcasts.
Who the fuck even come up with that?
Somebody does, and here's one. And this one's going to be a little controversial, but here goes. Usually the dumbest people in our society and the most ill-informed deal in absolutes with everything. And there's a quote out there that says, the opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if they don't know anything about the subject. And this past week I was up in D.C., and I got the opportunity to go get dinner with one of our old Marines, Congressman Golden, out of the state of Maine. Now, this may come as a shock to you, as it's pretty easy to tell that I'm a conservative libertarian type, and I think Bo and me think very similar politically, socially, and so forth. And it was really cool walking down the sidewalk with a guy who has some different thoughts than me. What? And he's a Democrat, and two Republicans walk up to us. They bro hug each other, and they look at me and they go, "This guy's a rock star." I said, "Well, no shit. He's a 3.6 Marine, and he's my friend. Of course he's a rock star."
He's one of our corporals.
So walking away from that, I wish America seen more of that.
Right.
So it's easy for me as a conservative / libertarian to get up here and say, you know what, screw a Democrat.
Right.
But there's exceptions to everything in this world.
I hate these fucking people that whenever our country is doing good, they hate it because they hate who's in charge. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Golden, right? He loves our country to do good no matter who he works for our country. He don't work for a party.
Yeah. He has told me he does what's right by his people.
That's right.
He works for the people of Maine.
That's right.
And I think that matters.
Yeah, he just got awarded
the Farmers of America.
Farmers of America for for American goods and bringing
manufacturing back to the States.
Back to the United States. He's been in Congress for 7 years now.
Yeah.
And he's a big Second Amendment guy.
Yeah.
He's not a liberal. He's a good Democrat.
Right.
Which I didn't think there was such a thing.
And I think what we see here, and as you get older and you get a little wisdom and you travel the world, I think if you cut the far left edge off and the far right edge, a lot of people are more closer to the center of doing right by people than you think.
Absolutely. We have a lot more in common than what we think. But the problem is you go so far to the fucking left or so far to the fucking right, you miss the common ground.
And I'm not so ignorant as to get up here and say, like, here's your case in point. Somebody that's never served their country shows up here 150 pounds overweight talking about I'm Second Amendment, this, that, and the other. Man, shut up. You can't even climb steps without getting out of breath. You probably don't even know how to zero the guns that you do own. Just shut up because you're making everybody stupid. You're fucking everybody else up.
Oh, I've talked to people that after the conversation's over, I was stupider.
I can use the word stupider because I am from West Virginia.
Yeah. We are in the West by God.
Same could be said on the left, just Jesus, man. If it'd be nice if people that were jackasses knew they were jackasses, but they're usually the loudest voice in the room.
You know, they're talking about going across the aisle, right?
Yeah.
You know, and working with each other. Did you see when the president did the State of the Union?
I did.
It was disgusting. Everybody on this side sat in their asses. You know, even when he's saying good things,
right?
They sat down because they just don't like the man.
Yeah.
So you don't like the man, but so what? Think about your country, the greater fucking good.
Yep.
You fucking amateurs.
I think all these
fucking clown. No, I ain't even took my goddamn meds today.
Hey, look,
fired up.
I think both sides of the aisle should take a good look over the past few years. Take a good look left and right. And America wins when those parties. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to get a third party here. But the parties that do exist bring better people to the table, because at some point the other side is going to win, and America wins when you bring better people to your party.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know what I hate? I hate when people make themselves a victim. I'm like, shut up! You're a fucking senator. Get the fuck out of here, you know?
And tragically, I think a lot of our society has gotten a lot of our folks to both view the world through the lens of a victim, and we also have people that take advantage of people by creating an environment where that's where they look at the world through the lens of a victim.
I found this definition the other day of woke.
Buddy, hit us with it.
Read that, JC. Read it. Tell me if this is spot on.
Is this my opportunity to redeem myself from using the word stupider?
Yes.
A state of awareness only achieved by those dumb enough to find injustice in everything except their own behavior.
Is that what woke is, or is that what woke is?
That's it. That is it. Plain and simple.
Yep.
I'm not down with it.
I'm not either.
So
Hell no.
I guess going forward, don't deal in absolutes. And if you got a friend that's a little bit different than you but is a force for good, they should still be your friend.